Hey everybody, so my name is LaPretty and welcome to my page known as the Dominican Voodoo Spiritualist. And so today I'm going to be talking about my experience at the Breezy Bowl in Atlanta. So last Saturday I went to the Breezy Bowl concert, the first night of the Atlanta segment in Atlanta. So I pretty much, took a train to Atlanta and landed in Atlanta and explored Atlanta and went to the Breezy Bowl Chris Brown concert. Pretty much going to talk about my experiences, what I thought about Atlanta, what I thought about the concert, so on and so forth. So I pretty much took the train from Greensboro to Atlanta. That was an 8 hour ride. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like, I have taken the train from Greensboro before and never had this bad of a time as far as being on the train. But I don't know what was going on with this time going to Atlanta with this train. The train ride was rocky, it was super cold on the inside. The people were not as nice when it came to loading us on and helping us get on and telling us when to get off and having directions. And it was just like a mess. Then when we finally got to Atlanta, Atlanta's train system is horrible, especially when it comes to like the Amtrak system. Like the Amtrak station in Atlanta is on Peachtree, and it's on a section on Peachtree where there's a lot of homeless people. There's like a bridge that's crossing over the highway, and then it comes over to the train station, and then when you leave the bridge and walk past the train station, you go up the street, and then you walk past a lot of empty buildings and walk past a lot of different establishments and so on and so forth. And so yeah, it's just like, nah, this is not my thing. And then the worst part about the Amtrak station in Atlanta is that they open and close at funny hours. So the Amtrak station opened up at 7 o'clock in the morning, but then they close at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then they don't open back up until like 7 o'clock at night and then close at midnight. And I'm saying, like, depending on when people come in and, where are they supposed to go? Like when y'all close, or like where are they supposed to like stand, before y'all open and whatnot? Because I'm saying, like, this is not a good environment to have a train station in. The area is not clean, it's super small. Homeless people are walking around like nothing. And some of the homeless people walking around, that were walking around there, they look pretty scary. Like they didn't look, the kind of homeless people that you would want to be friends with or hang around with and stuff like that. So I'm saying, like, why do y'all have this train station in this bad area? Then why are y'all not open at least 12 hours instead of being open a couple of hours in the morning to the afternoon and then not opening back up to the nighttime and then closing at midnight? I'm saying, like, this is not what Atlanta should be given when it comes to train transportation, because a lot of times people don't use the train. They either drive or they take the bus or they fly. But like, due to a lot of these traveling restrictions, and just due to the ease, sometimes of taking, other forms of transportation as to taking, planes, they should have made this a lot easier. I mean, like, come on, y'all are Atlanta. Like, I took the first train leaving North Carolina to Atlanta in Greensboro. Greensboro's train station is 10 times bigger than Atlanta's. Like, Greensboro's train station looked like a courthouse. It's so big. And then Atlanta's train station for Amtrak looks like, I don't want to say Little House on the Prairie, but it looks like a smaller house on the corner. And I'm saying, like, if this is Atlanta, Georgia, y'all need to be bigger than this. Like, this train station should not be this small. It should not be in this section of Atlanta. And it should be a lot bigger, and y'all should be open a lot longer. So that was my gripe. But when I got off the train into Atlanta, Atlanta felt like a breath of fresh air. Like, I had been to Atlanta before, but it had been 20 years since I had last been to Atlanta. I hadn't been to Atlanta since I was like 7. maybe 6, 7 years old. And I remember Atlanta was very lavish. Atlanta was very, star studded, very shiny, very like lights, camera, action. I remember it as a child, and I remember going inside a Lenox Mall when it was huge and when it had, multiple stories you could walk through. But Atlanta has changed since then. So when I got off my train and when I got off my train and when I stepped out into Atlanta, it felt like a breath of fresh air. So when I got off the train, I decided to go to Carly Red and Neo's restaurant called Johnny's Chicken and Waffles in Atlanta. And it was really good. Like Carly Red, she did a really good job with that restaurant. Like it was clean on the outside, clean on the inside. I love the color scheme. The color scheme was like black, red, and gold. And I loved how they had the music memorabilia on the wall. So when you walk in, when you turn to like the right in like the little waiting area, they have like Carly Red's MTV movie Love and Hip Hop Award and a shrine on the wall. Then there's like Neo's platinum album plaque, and then when you walk down like the aisle of the restaurant, that's outside of the bar on the right side, on the walls on each side there are like plaque albums of the major artists of Atlanta. So I thought that was a nice little touch, like a soft, sweet, or like grown and sexy look with like a musical touch to it. And then when you go to the bar is really nice. There's seats around the bar. The chairs were like really lavish. It was really clean. And the women who work there, are really pretty, really cute, really nice. And like the attire that she has the waitresses in are like very, soft, sweet, very sensual and sporty. And that's one of the things that I loved about Atlanta. Atlanta is very free spirited. Like when you go to Atlanta, you will see all types of hairstyles, all types of clothing styles, all types of lifestyles, all types of people and age groups and ranges. And there's a lot of younger people in Atlanta too. So that was something that I really noticed. And when it comes to like the workforce, as far as like young versus old and, the type of freedom that people have at these jobs, it's very fluid. So that's what I liked about Atlanta. So when I went to Carly Red's restaurant, I had the chicken tenders, and then I had the Oreo waffles with the eggs and cheese, and it was really good. And then I think I had a sweet tea. The sweet tea was really good. It wasn't all that sweet. The eggs and cheese was pretty good. The waffles and Oreos was banging. It was pretty good. The chicken tenders was breaded nice and whatnot, but there was no flavor. Like if I didn't have the what was I gonna say? If I didn't have the honey mustard to dip it in, it wouldn't have had no taste to it. But other than that, the food was pretty good. So after I had left the restaurant, I pretty much, walked up and down, the aisle. Walked up and down the street of where the restaurant was and whatnot. I was shocked that the restaurant was in like a simple place, in Atlanta. Because, when you see a lot of these like celebrity based restaurants, you always think they're going to be like on the rich side of whatever city they're in, or the high class or highly established side of the town that they're in. And it wasn't like that. Like this restaurant was in like a regular, area. I want to say middle class, almost about in the hood area. Because when you go up the street about 2 or 3 miles, you're right in the hood from the restaurant. So, I was kind of shocked at that. I was like, okay, this is like in like a little simple, environment area. But for the most part, the food was pretty good. And then the second place that I went to in Atlanta was a Botanica. Y'all know I'm a spiritual girl. I am the Dominican voodoo spiritualist. So, wherever I go, if I need something spiritual, I'm going to go and check it out. Now, when it comes to Atlanta and the spiritual scene, I do know that Ifa is very big in Atlanta. There is voodoo in Atlanta, but what I've noticed with voodoo versus Ifa is a lot louder in Atlanta as opposed to voodoo. Like when it comes to Ifa, you will hear a lot about Ifa and Isheshe and Lukumi. Lukumi is there, but it's kind of hidden and it's kind of quiet a little bit. And then when it comes to voodoo, I want to say with voodoo in Atlanta, you kind of have to know people or know where to go when it comes to connecting with people who practice voodoo, whether it be Haitian voodoo, 21 Divisions voodoo, Louisiana voodoo, so on and so forth. Because with the botanica scene or the spiritual shop scene in Atlanta, I've mainly seen either esoterical stores in Atlanta and like very few authentic botanicas that have like the Orisha tools, the Orisha offerings, the books, and so on and so forth. So I went to one botanica in Atlanta, and I'm gonna look up the name of it. Okay, so the name of this botanica is called Yeye's Botanica. I love this botanica because it is very, very, very authentic. Like when you arrive or when you pull up to it, it looks like a traditional Nigerian, hut where, people do like ceremonies and rituals and so on and so forth. So I like the authenticity of it. When you walk into the Botanica is very clean, it's very colorful, and it's not cluttered because you guys know, especially people who go to botanicas a lot, they're not always the cleanest places to go to. Sometimes they're not clean, sometimes they're very cluttered, and it'll just be like junk and all types of stuff in the way going in there. But with this botanica, it's very clean, very pretty, very colorful, and it's very authentic. Like when you go in, everything is organized, everything is categorized, very neat, very clean. And when you walk in there, there is a young lady who works there, but they also have babalawos that work at the Botanica as well, where they can explain different items to you. They can explain different tools. They can speak with you about the Orishas, and they also have different books and different other forms of Ifa knowledge within the store. So I really enjoyed this store. This store is very authentic. It was very, pretty, beautiful, and clean. And I wouldn't mind going back. Like I bought roasted corn for Elegua. I bought a rose of Jericho. And what else did I buy in there? I'm trying to look and see what else did I buy. I can't remember because I know I bought three things, and I'm saying like, what all did I buy? But yes, they have a lot of good books, and the thing that I love about them is that they have the accurate books on Santeria, Olukumi. Because the thing about spirituality, you guys know, is that there are a lot of people thinking they know everything, writing books on everything, especially when it comes to the Orishas, when it comes to Ifa, Isheshe, and it's wrong, it's inaccurate, and it's not right, and it's very misleading. But me being a practitioner as well as somebody who's initiated and who has, authentic books, I could say this is one of the many botanicals that I have been to that would be considered the most authentic, where everything in there is the most authentic. And it's called Yeye's Botanica, and it's in Atlanta, and it's on Campbellton Road, Southwest, and it is very good. Like their botanica is very good. It has a lot of good items in there. So after leaving there, I pretty much hang out, in front of the restaurant again because it's like I'm new to Atlanta. I don't know where to go. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. Da da da. So I pretty much walked out, walked around and spruced up and was on the phone and whatnot. And then I just went ahead and decided to go to the stadium where the concert was going to be at. So the Chris Brown, aka Breezy Bowl, was inside of the. Let me look it up. I'm trying to remember. So the Breezy Bowl concert that I went to for the August date, it was inside of the, let's see. Okay, so my show was on August the 30th and it was inside of Truist Park. Truist Park was very beautiful. Like when I went inside of that park, it was like a amusement park. It was like an adult kids amusement park. They had all types of restaurants. They had like a little water park for the kids to jump around in and resting and seating areas. And I had a good time and it was a good vibe. Like I was walking around, floating around looking and seeing this. I had my Chris Brown gear on as well as the other fans and I was just floating and gloating and listening to Chris Brown music as I was walking, and it was just a really good vibe. Like the first show in Atlanta for the Chris Brown concert was the best. Like our date went the most viral, and I believe that's why so many people came the second day, and why there were like thousands and thousands and thousands of people that showed up the second day. So on the first day, it was a good vibe. I went to Shake Shack for the first time. I always want to try Shake Shack. I had I think I had like the Oreo smoothie, and then I had the chicken sandwich, and I had the spicy fries. Their food was so good. Because the thing about Shake Shack is, even though it's fast food, they use like clean ingredients. And so that's what I liked about it. But the food, it tasted pure, it tasted clean, it was good, and I loved it. So it was everything I expected it to be. And so when I was, going around the park, eating and drinking and whatnot, I stayed in that park for about 4 or 5 hours. And there were a lot of other fans that did the same thing because you did have a lot of Atlanta based fans that came to the concert. Then you had people like me and you did have people like me who came from other states to go to this concert. So all of us was just there, hanging out, being on our phone, taking pictures, chilling, walking around, listening to music until the concert got started. Then came us standing in the line. So when it came time for us to stand in the line, we had to stand. We were all standing in line for like 2 hours or so. Then they told us that the gate wasn't gonna open up till 5:30. 5:30 rolled around, and the people at this Truist Park, they were just like acting a fool because it didn't make no sense how when 5:30 came, they still wouldn't open the gate. Everybody kept running around trying to figure out what to do. They was taking the locks and chains off the gate like they was gonna open it up, but then they kept running out, running to do errands or running to answer a call for somebody, and they were just doing a lot of scrambling and a lot of back and forth. And then one girl had even got sick and they had to call EMS and they had to put her in like a little chair because it was starting to get hot. Like Atlanta that day, I think it was like 88, 89 degrees, but it seemed like the longer they made us wait, the hotter the sun got. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And then 5:45 rolled around and then we were able to be allowed into the stadium. So that was a lot of people's gripe about, getting into the stadium was the people that was supposed to be checking and saying open it up, they was pitter pattering too much. But when I got into the Truist Park, everything was good. I had a good seat. I sat on the very top level. I think my section was maybe 200 or 300, but I had a middle seat. So I was like front and center. I saw everything, like the whole field, the whole stage, you name it, I saw it. Now, when 7 o'clock hit, Bryson Tiller was on that stage. Bryson Tiller, I want to say, I wish he would have chose a better song set list because I listened to Bryson Tiller, but not like that. The only songs he performed that I knew was Wild Thoughts that he did with DJ Khaled and Rihanna, Don't, and a little bit of the first or second song that went viral on TikTok. But Bryson Tiller actually has other music that I feel like was a lot better than the songs he performed. Because he does have a song with Drake that's really good. And he has the song with Chris Brown. And he had Wild Thoughts and he had Don't. And then he had another song with Chris Brown called Wait On It featuring Jeremiah. So I wish he would have did some of those songs instead of doing some of these because I only knew like two out of the what 5, 6 songs that he sung up there. So I'm like, okay, but he was still good. He came on, did it. Now Miss Summer Walker, she did a really good job with her show, and I forgot that she used to have like really bad stage presence. Like when she first came out, I remember she used to say, "Oh, well, I have stage fright. I'm nervous. I don't like to be around people and whatnot." She did a really good job. She came out there looking like R&B royalty. She had her hair done, her outfits, the dance moves on point. The backup dancers was rocking and rolling with her wherever she went, and it was really good. And she performed all of my favorite songs. Now, one thing I did notice about Summer Walker is that she's from Atlanta, and I didn't know this. But yeah, Summer Walker is a born bred Atlanta girl. And I'll give it up to the Atlanta girls. When it comes to Atlanta girls, y'all can dress. Y'all can dress, y'all can style, y'all have like the complete, ATL, hood chick girl look. And I realized that's why Summer Walker looks the way that she does. Because when you look at Summer Walker and when you look at a lot of the girls in ATL, they look just alike. Like Summer Walker has like the different color hair with the lace fronts, the tattoos, that describe her personality as well as her spirituality. And just like the combination of like street hood culture mixed with glam and, casual and so on and so forth. Because a lot of the girls in Atlanta, they dress like that. They have like the street hood clothes, but they add a little pretty to it with the hair and the nails and the makeup, and then they have the the snapback hats. And I love the girls that came to the Chris Brown concert that had like the veil and stuff in the back. I thought that was like a signature like look that a lot of them had. But now that I think about it, when it comes to like ATL Atlanta hip hop, they have had a really big impact on hip hop as a whole with the fashion, the rap, the dancing, everything. Like ATL is like that girl when it comes to hip hop fashion, sound, dance, everything. But I'm gonna look and see if Sierra is from Atlanta. I like to fact check sometimes when I'm on here. Okay, so Sierra was born in Fort Hood, Texas, but did she grow up in Atlanta? Okay, let's see. Okay, so I do see where she was born in Austin, Texas, and then by her being an army child, she grew up in different states. But during her teenage years, her and her family moved to College Park, Georgia, which is a very popular suburb of Atlanta. So she wasn't born in Atlanta, but she was bred in Atlanta during her teenage years. And not to mention when Sierra was a teenager, that's when she became famous. So around the time that Sierra was coming up, that was really around the time that she was becoming, settled and engulfed in, hip hop culture of Atlanta. But kudos to Atlanta girls and kudos to Atlanta fashion and whatnot. Summer Walker really is Miss ATL when it comes to her looks and when it comes to her demeanor, her style and whatnot, because she really looked beautiful and really looked pretty during this concert. Now let's get to Mr. Chris Breezy. When he got on stage, Chris Brown's concert, I want to say, was not only a breath of fresh air, but it was so therapeutic for me. Like he performed all the songs that's on my playlist, and it's so funny. And I remember seeing another girl on TikTok say that he performed all the songs on her playlist too. He performed "Grass Ain't Always Greener." He performed "Indigo." He performed "It Depends." He performed Poppin', Give Me That, Wall to Wall. He performed like all the classics, and Say Goodbye was like my most favorite one. But some of the songs that I wish he would have performed would have been Just Fine, would have been Damage. I wish he would have performed Damage. If he would have performed Damage, I think the whole stadium would have went crazy if he would have performed Damage at the concert. He did Shorty Like Mine, and he did I Ain't Thinking About You. And I wish I would have bought a ticket to the second night, which was on Sunday, because our show was on a Saturday, and the second night was on a Sunday, because that's when, of course, he brought Bow Wow out. Because the thing I've noticed about a lot of these bigger cities, when these artists come, the popular artists come, 9 times out of 10, they're going to bring somebody out on stage from that city. So the second night, he brought out Bow Wow. And I think he brought out Bow Wow, because Bow Wow, is from Atlanta. He's not from Atlanta, but he's very well known in Atlanta. And so, of course, that's like his brother, his friend, and they've known each other, been cool with each other since they was teenagers and whatnot. So, That's probably why he went ahead and did the show. And then of course, Chris Brown is like the after party man. Chris Brown love a party. He love a good vibe, and he love a good club scene. So of course, they had an after party in Atlanta at this club called the Dome. And if you were able to get in, you was able to see Chris Brown, and Jermaine Dupri showed up, and Bow Wow showed up, and it was a big party and whatnot. And my thing about Chris Brown is that Chris Brown is a very spiritual person, and I know a lot of people know that. And he may say that he believes in God, but he believes in a higher. He believes in a higher power. And the reason why I say this is because everything that he does, it typically is in alignment. Like his music is always in some type of alignment. His dating options is always in some type of alignment. His clothing style, his hairstyles, it's like everything is always in alignment. And not to mention his last album, well, not last album, the album before the last one, because the last album he put out was Breezy, but the album before that was 1111. And we all know 1111 represents divine unity, angelic messages, and being at one with your higher being or your higher self. And so I feel like Chris Brown is very in tune with his feelings. He's very in sync with his individuality, and he just knows how to go with the pace of destiny. And I feel like that's why his shows are so good, because when you go to his shows and you feel his essence when he performs, it's very clean and very pure. Like in spirituality, the reason why it's so important for you to cleanse is because you will experience your destiny, your power, your divine right, and your divine authority, but also your favor. But the type of energy that you would emit would just be like wonderful, and it'll just like surpass like so many, different, mindsets and feelings and whatnot. And it'll just put everybody in a good mood. So I just feel like that's an amazing quality that Chris Brown has. And another thing that I saw was that when he performed the Indigo song, I'm not sure if people saw that, but he does a lot of different graphics on stage and whatnot. And during the Indigo song, he had the chakras popping up. And I don't know if anybody saw that when he was talking about, how does that song go? 'Cause you nasty, babe. You do everything I like. Girl, you classy, babe. And your spirit just my type. Oh, you nasty, babe. I know I'm singing off tune or whatever, but I mean, that's just how I'm singing. But yeah, but when you hear the music and listen to the beat and whatnot, and then he had the chakras and whatnot popping up, that just goes to show you right there that he's in alignment. Because when it comes to the chakras are all about being one, being with the divine, and being centered within yourself, and making sure that your chakras are balanced so that you can be in alignment. So Chris Brown said a lot without really saying it. So I'll just say that. But yeah, his show was amazing. It was powerful. It was good vibes. It was good everything. Now, when it came to leaving the stadium, I want to say that leaving the stadium, it was alright, but I didn't want to leave before the show actually ended, because all them people that was there, like it was a lot of people. The thing I did not like about how we left was how some of the people, they just didn't want to move. It's like we trying to move, we trying to get out, we trying to go down the steps, we trying to go get on the elevator, and some people just was so like hard still that they could have almost knocked you over. And I mean, and I'm not saying this was like, a lot of people in pockets, like it was so many people there, it could have caused a stampede if something were to pop off in that type of scenario. And then you had women there that was pregnant. Like I saw women who had their bellies out, midges out, 5, 6 months pregnant. To each his own. But if I was pregnant, I would not be at a Chris Brown concert in a stadium around those many people, because you're not gonna trample me or push me down, and I'm gonna get hurt and lose my baby. Like that's just me. But to sum it all up, the concert was good. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I didn't have no problems. I didn't have no issues. Chris Brown did an excellent job. ATL was a vibe. It was a breeze, and it just felt, really good. Like Atlanta, like when I've heard so many different things about Atlanta, and maybe I don't, and maybe I'm just saying this because I was just a visitor and I don't live in Atlanta. But Atlanta, the energy that I got from Atlanta was freedom. Like when I touched down in Atlanta, Atlanta felt like an escape. It felt like I was on vacation. It felt like I was breathing better, feeling better, seeing things more clearly. And I just felt like the energy in the atmosphere was just ease and not any type of tension, and that it would be easy for you to manifest or easy for you to glow or just easy for you to move around. So that's what I loved about Atlanta. Now, when I went to the Lenox Mall has changed. And the funny thing is that when you think about it, I know like the mall scene has changed a lot because a lot of malls are closing and they're saying that a lot of people don't really go to malls like they used to. But the Lenox Mall has changed because it has condensed since I was there in like the early 2Ks. And it's funny how the same company that designed one of the malls in Charlotte designed the Lenox Mall in Atlanta because they both have the cheesecake factories attached to them. They're both elongated, very centered. They're not like wide where there's a lot of, room and space for people to gather and for people to like run around. It's just very like singular, very like in and out. And there's a pocket here for a seat or a pocket there for a seat and so on and so forth. The stores were really nice and the people were really nice too. I went into some stores like Balenciaga. I didn't go to Coach. I didn't go to Michael Kors. I went to the Marc Jacobs store. I saw Steve Madden. I saw Adidas. Like they had a lot of really nice stuff in there. Then they had a food court and Cammy's Cupcakes. I have been following Cammy's Cupcakes for a while. And it didn't dawn on me that she was in Atlanta. Like when I was on like my baking tip when I wanted to be a baker, and I still do, I used to follow like a lot of bakeries, that just spoke to my mind and whatnot. And hers was one of the ones that I followed, and I remembered her logo, and lo and behold, she got a spot, inside of the Lenox Mall. And she has like cupcakes of every flavor. She has like banana pudding. She has New York style cheesecake, sweet potato pie. And I think I had the sweet potato pie one, and it was so good. It tasted like a sweet potato pie. The icing on it was really good. It wasn't too thick. It wasn't too runny. It was a nice consistency, and she's really nice and really professional. So Atlanta was a vibe. Like I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. The people were really nice. And, I was just surprised. I'm like, is Atlanta really like this? Because, I only know about Atlanta from watching, YouTubers and content creators and reality TV show people, talk about Atlanta and Atlanta this and Atlanta that. And when I got there, it wasn't like that. But I guess it depends on, where you live and who you know and, things like that. But for the most part, Atlanta was a breeze, Atlanta was a vibe, and the Breezy Bowl was one of the best concerts I've been to. So I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like, love, leave positive comments in the comment section. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. But to those of you who traveled to Atlanta and was there August the 30th for the Breezy Bowl concert, share your experiences in the comment section as well. Have a good night.